We are live. What's up and what's going on, good people? Shout out to everybody in the building. Had to come back in here with another one. Couldn't leave you hanging 2 days in a row. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. Going to have a good one here today. Going to be talking about Neo not yielding to the woke mob, so to speak. Neo not yielding to the woke mob, and y'all know I will be doing some recap on
Stop playing with these niggas.
Lego. Hey, I'm really proud of y'all. Montgomery Brawl. Bitch. Not one but them all. Montgomery Brawl. Shout out bro that can swim. Montgomery Brawl. Salute shit, really all of them. Montgomery Brawl. Shout out Unc with the chair. Montgomery Brawl. Everybody that was there. Montgomery Brawl.
Right.
Threw the hat off at the start.
Remember when we said on my show that they're gonna make a song? I said it'll be ready by tomorrow. That thing was ready by the end of that night. That thing was ready by the end of the night. They had the song ready to go. Niggas. we about to get into it. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hood Servitor said he said, no, Bernard, that's my show tonight. I've been collecting clips. I only got a couple. I'm just gonna touch on the bridge. Trust me. It's gonna be so much meat on the bones for you to cut. I'm not gonna steal none of your thunder. I'm just gonna briefly talk about it a little bit. Let me roll my intro. Strap on in, hit the like button. Let's get ready to go. Where's the intro? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What's up? Oh shoot, I didn't mean to still have that up. But what's up and what's going on, good people? What's up and what's going on, good people? And as I always forget, special shout out and acknowledgement to Machismo TV.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
We've done so much with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything with nothing. Shout out to Machismo TV, the best male-centric clips show and highlight reel channel in the business, the best in the business. at that, get all the highlights. We back in here. We back in here for another one. I almost missed y'all 2 days in a row, but I couldn't do it. I had to come back. But yeah, we in here. And you know, a little time has passed, you know, with the Montgomery brawl, you know. It's a we okay. Black people having too much fun with this. I'm not knocking the fun. I'm not knocking the fun, you know, but it is the only thing that happened to me over the last day or so. Just thinking about it, it's like, okay, when I rewatched it in higher definition, some of the white ladies, well, I think all the white ladies involved, they were trying to break it up. I couldn't really tell at first what was going on. Yeah, they was trying to break it up and they got their ass whipped. That was yeah, you know. And that makes the chair hit to the head a little worse. This is but overall, I still hold the same position that if a white guy doing his job and a mob, let's just, you know, at least five people jumped on the dude, that's counted as a mob, and a mob of black people started beating him up, and a bunch of white people just ascended from land, sea, and air and commenced to whooping ass, everybody would say that's a righteous ass whooping. So I still say that that's a righteous ass whooping, but yeah, black people enjoying it a little too much. So much that drop the intro music, drop the music. Enjoying it so much that they made a song about it.
Bro, man, shout out.
Hold on, let's go from the beginning.
Well, stop playing with these niggas.
Let go. Hey, I'm really proud of y'all. Montgomery brawl. Bitch. Not one but them all. Montgomery brawl. Shout out bro that can swim. Montgomery brawl. Salute shit, really all of them. Montgomery brawl. Shout out Unc with the chair. Montgomery brawl. Everybody that was there. Montgomery brawl. Threw the hat off at the start. Montgomery brawl. Man, shout out to the girl. Montgomery brawl. Hey, now y'all done started some shit, so we gon' finish y'all it. And this time, everybody about to witness it. Y'all. Bro told them to move, just doing this job. But y'all wanted to jump him, so now we got a problem. Let's get it. All right, bet. Let me tell y'all what really happened. Heard they was jumping on my cousin, let me off, Captain. Cuz came out the water like, let's get it cracking. Came with the chair like I got some action. Cuz came no shirt like I got Sebastian. I got him. Even the women getting hit like, damn, what happened? Hey, this shit was kind of lit, like, damn, it's cracking. I even seen a rock bottom, like, damn, this wrestling. Seen a couple of them boys go night-night.
It was so many clips of this that I didn't have during my show. I just had the initial Instagram drop. It was so many clips and so many angles. I didn't know that Aquaman put somebody in the belly to back suplex. Look at that. That's Aquaman. Just belly to back suplex that man. And then somebody jumped in the air and stumped on his face like this. Look at big dude just jump in the air and stump on his face after the suplex. Wow. That stump in the face was at a different angle too. That stump in the face was at a different angle where you could see it. Like it was a full jump, an anime style jump in the air, boom! Like it was, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But you know, in a way, it was good because, like Hood Conservative said, you know, black people righteously whooped some ass, or righteous. They were not wrong. They were not wrong. Like nobody could spin this as in they were wrong. They only could talk about the degree. And even the black cops who was dragging their feet trying to stop it, like I pointed out in the last show, even the black cops that was dragging their feet trying to stop it, that's when they finally, you know, remembered that they was police officers and grabbed somebody, subdued somebody, and cuffed somebody when they saw that old white lady get cracked in the head with the chair. But either way, moving on. Oh, and then, there's so many funny clips. I'm gonna have to watch Hood Conservative show tonight because he said he just finding clips on it. It's so much little funny stuff. People just making all kind of cartoonized memes, rehashing it, rehearsing it.
Official holiday. August 5th is now an official holiday. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Only thing I wonder is how long will this hold up? And what I mean by that, is it possible? And I think it is that August 5th of next year is going to roll around and black people are going to remember this day like September 11th. Like, that's one of those moments etched in time that black people, that Americans, us good American folk, don't forget. Never forget. I wonder if black people are going to remember this like that. Oh, dang, I didn't catch that. They pulled the lady out the water just to beat her up again. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this was wild. This was wild. This was wild. Winthrop says, how embarrassing. No. You said they'd forget about it in a couple weeks? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that some brave soul on the internet is going to bring it back. A lot of stuff going to happen between now and then, but some brave soul on the internet is going to bring it back up. Going to say on this day and going to resurface and rehash all the clips. Now, I like to make predictions. Like I was predicting a few things on my last show. I was predicting we're seeing the early stages of a smaller pocket of white people viewing things racially the way black people do. I said we're at the early stages of that. And black people kind of, help facilitate and bring that world into existence to where, they're gonna look at things in a very divided kind of way, and it's gonna make for interesting. I won't say interesting times because it's not going to be like some big global national threat. Because again, we're talking about a fringe of more radicalized white people that's going to start sprouting up. That's my prediction. That's my prediction, and it won't be a big global. I mean, it won't be a big national threat. Won't be a threat to national security or the threat to black people overall on a large scale, because not enough white people are going to be radicalized like that. But I do think there's a percentage out there. I do think there's a percentage out there that's just like, fuck this shit. When they're going to be on guard. They're going to be on guard, ready to go. A lot of them already are. There's a percentage of them already are. Like when it comes to just the basic stuff, defending your home. Yeah, that they've been on that. But I do believe all the shit that niggas been doing and niggas been saying and celebrating and just making every little thing about race, seeing race under every little rock, seeing all the stuff, I do think that we're going to start seeing an uptake in white people, at a still a very small percentage rate, starting to view things the way black people view it. The way black people view it. I always talk about how in polite society, if somebody has the views of the Tiki Torch posse, if somebody has their views, they're not really welcome, they're not really welcome in respectable areas amongst white people. Like, nah, you can't come in here with that. That's generally how it is. It's like that's the fringe that's the radicalized fringe off to the side. But that's also for the equal opposite of it, or the black equivalent of it is that's just mainstream normal blackness. And how black people view white people is an overwhelming percentage. I would say somewhere up in the 85 to 90% of black people just outright view white people as just they're the enemy. It's us against y'all. Y'all all racist. Fuck y'all. Other than the white people that we need for I need a job. That kind of shit. Other than that, black people do have I would say an anti-white mentality. I do think that mentality growing, and I do think people higher up, a lot of the political left placating to that. I think that's going to spark a small minority of white people to start viewing things on those grounds. I think that's going to be happening. Conservative says nothing radicalized you like getting attacked and robbed. But no, they're not supposed to see color. They're not supposed to see the race in that. They're just supposed to see the crime in that. They're just supposed to see the poverty in that. And that could happen to anybody who grew up in those circumstances. So the issue is, let's figure out what circumstances are producing more people like that. Not black people, more people. You see, that's the mind that a lot of white people have, or at least that's what they publicly present. You see that in the reporting on the news when a black person does something and they're describing the black person and they want to say everything except his race. Like, you see that it's a Family Guy joke where they were trying to describe a black guy without mentioning his color. You know, it's like that's a real thing. And so that's why I'm like, I think that we're going to see white people, a higher percentage of them, just be more emboldened to just say, nah, what it is. Even when I go through a poor white neighborhood, it's crime out there, but I don't worry about this happening. I don't worry about that happening. When I go through the hood, I worry about if I ever find myself stopping to get gas at night in Detroit, I worry about A, B, C, and D happening, and black people do too. So we can just all be honest about it. I think we're going to start seeing more of that, and mix with a little, mix with a little ready to stand their ground. Even though some would argue they already do it. Some would argue they already do it. Sir Tice, a fellow Michigander, says you do not get gas at night in Detroit. Yeah. But no, we're going to start seeing that. I mean, yeah, we understand rednecks tote pistols and they ready to defend themselves, but we're going to start hearing them speak more candidly about who they suspect who they suspect them the likely assailant to be. I think we're going to start hearing them speak more candidly about that. I think we're going to start seeing that. Just a prediction. But Charles D. Curry in the building says, I won't forget. This is around my family reunion time. Right on. Hashtag never forget. My son wants to be Aquaman. Oh, shit. That's funny. That is funny. And Halloween is right around the corner. Yeah. People going to be being the chairman for Halloween. People going to be being Aquaman for Halloween. Yes. These people are going down in history. Tales from the dockside. Yes. But let's get into the main topic. I didn't have that much more to say on this. I recommend you check out Hood Conservative tonight. I know he's going to have a lot to say on it, but I didn't even want to talk on it this long. I just would be remiss if I didn't just touch on it briefly. If I didn't just touch on it briefly, I'd be remiss, because it's an interesting one. But all right, let's get into the main topic. Neo more or less held his ground against the woke mafia. He did. He issued an apology, then he said, fuck that, I ain't apologizing. He did it in a delicate way, but it still was a fuck y'all, I ain't apologizing. But I want to play this real quick. This is definitely related. So go with me here.
You heard of him?
Yes, I have.
If he identifies as a female, should he be allowed? Should Mike Tyson, have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
If he identifies as a female, should he be allowed to enter a boxing match with a biological female?
Well, the short answer is Yes, somebody who is trans.
After 20 fights, I was undefeated. Only one fighter stood between me and the belt.
You got this chick, she's nothing.
Tiffany Stone!
Now, I played that for the purpose of pointing out that a lot of the things that existed in our comedy, all right, a lot of the things that existed in that we made, like this was Scary Movie, all right, this was, I think, the last Scary Movie. Those Scary Movies are outright 100% parodies. You know, but the thing that movies that made fun of other movies slipped in a barely unrelated parody joke. The satire, there's no greater satire than the Scary Movie franchise. So the satire of satire over a decade ago made this. They produced this. And lo and behold, the stuff that was absolute 100% satire, the stuff that it's the reality now. It's the reality now, and we're supposed to, not acknowledge that. Wait a minute. Wait, no, this is going too far in the other direction. This is going too far in the other direction. It has left the realm of simple, okay, you identify as that. All right, yes, I'm not gonna fight you on it. Do you over there? It is going far beyond that, and it's actually worse than that. If we get Nate talking on this, I don't even want to go that far. I don't even want to go that far where Nate will take this, or even where Hood Conservative will take it. We don't even got to go that deep, because Nate will start talking about what they're doing to children. I mean, yeah, that's a factor in the equation. Is messed up, but just this is just surface level. This is just surface level that they've gone beyond the simple, except hey, this is who I am. This is what I think I am up here, regardless of what my anatomy says down here. So this is how I'm going to express myself, and that, hey, that just is what it is, and that's what I am. That's what I'm doing. Like something that simple, even the hard-nosed person may say, hey, this is America. We free, live and let live. Do your thing. I'm not gonna take away your right to dress how you want to dress and call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. But it's gotten ridiculous to where when the biology starts getting denied, that's when the floodgates opened. We literally have to look at somebody who calls himself a girl. I mean, a man who calls himself a girl. Therefore, he is. He says it. He says it, and therefore he is. He iseth. Talking like he speaketh it into existence. And now we gotta be okay with him getting in the ring, boxing with a woman. The absurdity of that. The brute force, blunt absurdity that's even a thing. And you got intelligent people in government having this discussion.
Should Mike Tyson, have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
If he identifies as a female, should he be allowed to enter a boxing match with a biological female?
Well, the short answer is yes, somebody who is trans.
After
That literally blows my mind. Like it's a few things that you get numb to, you get used to, and it just kind of is what it is. But that's one of those things that just forever and always just blows my mind. It'll never stop. Oh, and shit, hold on. One more thing I forgot about the brawl. Hold on. before I'll get into Neo. Nigga tattooed a chair on his arm.
I've been walking.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's wild. It is wild out here. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. Here goes Neo speaking on this.
I have no problem with with nobody. I have no issue. I have no issue with the LBG. I have no problem with nobody. Okay,
Right.
love.
Hey, whenever somebody gets the letters, the chronology of the letters wrong, it's like, yeah, you do got a problem with them. Just say it. Just say it. I got no problem with the LGT, XY elemental. You know, I ain't got no problem with you faggots. I mean, I shouldn't say that. We ain't supposed to say the F word on you on YouTube, but that's sort of how I feel whenever somebody say that. like a white person trying to explain that they ain't racist. No, I get along just fine with niggers. That's sort of like that. that's sort of how it is when somebody is more or less just, you know, say, hey, you know, I ain't got no problem, you know, I ain't got no problem with, you know, that group. I respect all people, even yeah, we all right. Let's go.
Who you love, do what you do.
Exactly.
I just personally come from an era where a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and it wasn't but two genders, and that's just how I rocked.
Me
now,
too.
You could identify as a goldfish if you feel.
Right.
I don't care. That ain't my business. It becomes my business when you try to make me play the game with you. I'm not going to call you a goldfish, but you want to be a goldfish, you go be a goldfish. It's all
Amen.
Good.
That is the most reasonable, sound, in the middle perspective to have on this. It's just that simple. Other people don't have to play along. It's the ultimate sign of society from a top-down governmental level having to play along, where somebody could be in the damn House of Congress being asked a question. If Mike Tyson in his prime decided that he was a woman, should he be able to get in the ring and fight a woman? And the person is damn near duty bound to say yes. That's people. That's everybody having to play along at the highest and at the highest order. That's where it gets ridiculous. You know, what he said was extremely reasonable. You shouldn't have to apologize for that. Shouldn't have to apologize that. He said, you're free to do what you want to do. I respect you. I'm not going to address you as something that I don't see, but hell, I'll call you by your name. What's your name? What's your name? Okay, I'll call you your name. But, you know, but yeah, to me, I see a man standing in front of me. I see a woman standing in front of me. You can't ask for somebody to be more reasonable than that. There was no disrespect there. There was no hate crime there. Nobody was hurt or harmed by him saying, you're free to do what you want to do. I respect it. Go ahead, do your thing. I'm just not going to play along.
I mean, it's just, we live in a weird time, man. We do. We live in a time where a person will have a mental breakdown in front of their camera.
Right.
Wait, let me wipe balance. No,
that's crazy, right?
What the hell is that? Like, if you are of sound mind enough to find the light,
right?
and then break down.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Right. No, there is something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you.
Right.
But ain't nothing wrong with you. Like, man.
Right. You're adding.
I've been saying that for the longest. All these well-produced videos where people having breakdowns. I'm like, get out of here. And then start wiping the eyelid, wiping tears from the top of the eyelid and shit. Like, that shit is goofy.
It's not how we deal with life,
Yeah,
and a lot of people want pity, self-pity. I don't like that.
That was one thing that was not allowed in the house that I grew up in. It's like, okay, get your cry out, give that its moment. But once it's done, keep moving.
That's right.
Sensitive. Like comedians can't tell jokes no more. So sensitive. Like comedians can't tell jokes no more.
No.
Like everybody's offended. It's a joke. It's a
Right.
comedian.
Right.
It's a joke. You're not supposed to take it serious. It's a joke.
Right.
His literal job is to joke.
About everyone.
About everyone
Right.
and everything. And people want to get offended and like, don't say that. That's triggering. Oh my God. You know what?
Yeah.
Sit in your house by yourself.
Exactly.
It annoys me.
I mean, anything can trigger you. A light can trigger you. A smell can trigger you. So, I mean, we got to walk on eggshells. Well, that's what they want us to.
That's what they want us to do.
But
my generation, there were no
damned.
trigger warnings. Okay, you got up and you kept moving. That's
Right.
kind of what it has to
We
be.
was kicked outside. We would come inside.
I respect any black male celebrity who calls out that idea that you can't say anything. Any black celebrity that calls that out, that points that out, I rock with you. But I have my theory as to why, the gay community is especially triggered by Neo doing it. Like, Neo has a song or two. Like, his music wasn't, I'm not saying his songs, I mean, that's okay. There's such thing as a gay song. I'm not saying his music was gay. But there is a such thing, like he has some songs that I'll pull one up and I'll try to play a little bit of it and I hope I don't get hit by a copyright strike. He had a lot of gay fans, put it like that. He had a lot of gay fans. Why do I say that? Let me pull up this song. Hold on, wait for it. Hold up, almost got it. Hold up. All right, let me pull up this share. He had a lot of gay fans. He had a lot of songs that sounded like they, like this song that I'm about to play. You listen to the lyrics. I mean, not the lyrics. Just listen to just the sound of the song. This song sounds like it goes hard at the gay pride parade. There's plenty of videos of gay people voguing in the street to that shit. All right. Like, he had some gay ass songs. That song had that I'm every woman jam. that I'm every woman kind of feel to it. like I think this is why they mad, because they thought Neo was one of them low key. Because, I talked about how that Jason Aldean, that country song was dog whistling. Neo done made some dog whistling songs, all right? Neo done made some very dog whistling to the gay community type songs. So I think that's why they especially pissed, because they feel like one of their own done joined the dark side. I think that's what's really going on there. Because that song did sound like you can see gay dudes voguing at a gay pride parade to that shit. It had that type of vibe to it. It really did. I know it was a hit, Elroy. Said you must not know about me is mad sassy. You talking about the song he wrote that song for Beyonce. I'm not gonna criticize him for that. That shows talent as a writer if you're a man, but you can write a song for a woman and capture the feeling and emotions of a woman when you're in the studio and you're writing and you really tap into your femininity and produce. Oh, damn. Never mind. But nigga be tapping into his femininity, writing songs for women, and be getting all the emotions just right. It's like that's an element in the equation here. That's an element into the equation here. I would be remiss if I didn't point that out. He's taking a stand. But yeah, he's tapping into something there. Tapping into something all day. All damn day. But anyway, let me get the video back up. But generally speaking, man can write songs for women. But the song that was on his album, that hit song, as many of y'all are pointing out, it was a hit song. It was a hit. I'm just saying, when I heard it, I was just like, this sounds like some gay pride parade theme music. That's all. But this is a money shot right here. We're talking about the kids and the whole idea of letting the kids decide what their gender is. Again, that's where it goes too far. That's where it goes too far. It's not too many ways around that one. See, even if you accept the science of gender dysphoria, even if you accept the science of that, it is still absurd to think that a 5-year-old knows what's going on in his brain with his feelings and his emotions of what he think he is. You medicate them, and then whatever it was that they on a whim said that they were, you medicate them while they're growing, while throwing off their hormonal imbalance. You're using medication to essentially make them be the thing that they said that they were on a whim when they were 5 years old, and they thought they was also a superhero. Like, I don't think 5-year-olds getting a junk cut off yet. I don't think we there. I know when Boosie was like, "Don't cut his dick off, man," talking about Dwayne Wade's son. Come on, man, don't cut his dick off, man. Like, no, I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe they cutting the junk off of 5-year-olds. I don't believe they're doing that. James Ranger said when he was 5, he was a Jedi. Yeah. You are behind the stream. You are behind the stream. And if you're behind it, I don't know why I'm telling you that, because if you're behind the stream, you can't hear me. But that song was gay as hell. That's the moral of the story. OG said, giving them fertilizer they need to grow the way you want them to grow. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. If you put them on medication that alters all of their mechanisms on the inside, now you're changing them into the thing that they said that they were on a whim. Where's the medical intervention to change Game Changer at 5 years old when Game Changer thought he was a Jedi at 5 years old? Could there be some invasive procedures to turn him into a Jedi? No. So that's where I'm at with that. That's where it's goofy. And Neo is somebody, he's not taking a political stance. This man is probably liberal and egalitarian as they come. This ain't and not about politics. This man is not taking any type of political stance. I'd imagine he leans infinitely further left than right. But he's just saying, come on, something got to give. Something got to give. And you're just going to start seeing more people just gradually going down that route. You're going to see them start going down that route. But, all right, let's get back into it.
Hold up.
Oh, shit. My bad, people. All that time, I thought the screen was like this. I thought we was like this. So I was playing the clip, but y'all couldn't hear it. My bad. I was playing the clip, but y'all couldn't hear it. I wonder how long that was going on.
Hold up.
I really wonder how long that was going on. Now, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. You should be able to see it moving down there at the bottom.
Libraries.
Like
they just want to manipulate. You got to understand when they're so young and they're already. That's
the one to the right of you. You should be able to see people moving down there. And that way,
doing.
Remember who you're dealing with. Like I can't take credit for it, but I heard somebody say one time, it's like, all right, if your son comes to you and says, Daddy, if your child comes to you and asks to do
that, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever.
And I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor that they either passed or are trying to pass a law in LA that states if your child comes to you and asks to do some of these things and you say no, they can take your kid from you.
Yeah, that's true. Just passed in California.
That makes no sense.
They want us to have no control over our children.
I don't get it.
In schools,
I don't get it.
Hospitals, libraries.
Yeah.
They just want to manipulate. You got to understand when they're so young and they're already, that's
impressionable.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And from them, they're going to believe what you say. I mean, we say Santa Claus is real, the Easter Bunny.
It. Like,
right, exactly.
Like
they know what they're doing.
Remember who you're dealing with. Like I can't take credit for it, but I heard somebody say one time, it's like, all right, if your son comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to be a girl. Ask your son, what is a girl?
That's a good one.
What is he going to do? He's going to say, well, he might want to play with dolls. All right, you want to play with dolls. Fine, play with dolls.
Right.
But you're a boy playing with dolls.
That's right.
I want to wear pink. All right, cool, wear pink. But you're a boy
That's right.
wearing pink.
I was a town boy. I still love boy sneakers and I love my baseball cap. Doesn't mean I want to be
All right. That was what he said. Not very controversial, Controversial for him because, like I said, he got a song or two that sound like they was in the gay pride parade or whatever. Jackie said in the comment section that song that to the left, the song he wrote for Beyonce, he actually wrote that for himself. Then figured out that it better it better suits a woman. He figured that out later. So apparently, yeah, he was in all, yeah. So the gay community mad because they lost one of their own. The gay community mad because they lost one of their own in their eyes. That's really what's up with that. But let's get further into what's going on here. Let's get into what's really going on here. So his apology basically went as this. After much reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt with my comments on parenting and gender identity. The statement reads, I've always been an advocate for love and inclusivity in the LGBTQI plus community. So I understand how, let me remove that banner. One second. So I understand how my comments could have been interpreted as insensitive and offensive. That was his initial response. Now, he has some time to think about it. And this is what I truly, absolutely, positively, 100% respect about what happened here. He yielded, he folded, and then he said, no, you know what? Somewhere on earth, it's okay for a black man to just generally say what makes sense. You know, nothing about what he said or what he's saying is coming off as bigoted, as going too far or going too hard against another disenfranchised community. None of it came off as that. It just came off as, I live in reality. This is reality. I'm not going to deny simple facts of reality. And I cannot deny those facts of reality while still respecting you, while still respecting that there's a group of people that move in a way that I don't. You can't ask the man to be more fair than that. He didn't say some radical shit. He didn't go on a Little Big Nate rant. He was cool with it. And he was still cool with this. But he made it be clear where he stand.
What's going on, loved ones? This is Neo. All right, listen. I normally don't give too much of a damn about what y'all think about what I do, what y'all have to say about what I say, whatever. I normally don't care because, like I said, opinions ain't special. Everybody got one. However, this is something I feel very strongly on, and I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls, okay? That's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure, I apologize for you being offended because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody.
Now, he did throw out a lightweight, backhanded, I apologize that you're offended. But he's not apologizing for what he's saying. This is what I think happened here. I think the community that, you know, much like black people get viewed as, in their thoughts, views, perspectives, and all of that, their situation, their plight, and everything, it gets basically wrapped around in more of a, you know, they're the victims. This overarching system is oppressive upon this group of people. That gives a lot of people a lot of, you know, a tendency to want to walk on eggshells when it comes to criticizing those groups. He did that. Ultimately, what happened is he saw the dark side of what they do and how they operate. And he saw that they're not just some small, disenfranchised, you know, community on the fringe who's been bullied and beat down by everybody, and they're just fighting back. No, he's seeing them as ultimately the bullies. I know they spammed all of his social media, all of his stuff, said absolutely horrible things. I have no doubt that they said absolutely racist things to this man. I have no doubt about that, that they went in and did all of that to it. And then after you see all of that, it does turn into a response like a, you know what, fuck you. You know, and I think that's kind of what's happening along the lines with black people and white people, where it's a lot of very liberal-minded white people with a lot of white guilt, and you know, even if we played a lot of tapes on like the Saturday show with Hood Conservative, we played a lot of tapes where it's some black feminists who, you know, partnered up holding hands with the white feminists. They cool, they all fighting the same mission, but the black feminists will still turn around after this white woman been trying to fight, you know, been technically on their side, even though you could argue that they wasn't. But either way it go, they're both two woman feminists. Once a black woman announced that they're feminists, once a black woman announced she's feminist, she's on the side with them. She's over there. She's dropped her black for her womanhood, and she's over there. She's doing her thing. I've heard them directly say that more, and I'm paraphrasing horribly and adding some cuss words, but you basically some racist bitches. Y'all don't want to overthrow this patriarchy. Y'all mad at y'all cut of it, and y'all want to closer. Y'all just, you know, y'all smooching off the white man that's oppressing everybody. So we don't trust y'all. We don't fuck with you bitches. We don't do. And then that white liberal that's full of white guilt is like, you know what? I spent a considerable portion of my life trying to, you know, help with your causes, and you giving me your ass to kiss, so fuck you. And then I think the same fuck you that Neo is sort of giving is sort of like that same thing. Like, wait a minute. I'm seeing that you're somebody that I, you know, looked at as sort of in the same situation, sort of in a similar situation as black people. And, you know, a lot of black people are supportive of your shit, but y'all just got a huge fuck you and bully attitude for everybody. So fuck you. It's like that's what's happening. And I think that, you know, just like I think a lot of white people, a lot of white people on the woke left side of it, they're going to also start having that fuck you mentality. They are. And gay people are inciting, emboldening a lot of people to basically, when I say gay people, I mean the LGBTQRS agenda. The LGBTQRS agenda is emboldening a lot of people to look at them as the enemy. And then you're going to end up in a situation where you're a small minority. They're a small minority of the population. They're going to convince the majority of people to view them as the enemy, to view them the way that they view everybody else. And then once that happens, they're going to be beyond the point of all the gains they've made in the movement, where a parent can, you know, potentially face some charges if they don't, you know, affirm the gender of their 5-year-old. They're going to be to the point to where they're not going to have shit like that going on. They're not even going to have the basic acceptance that they were fighting for 20 years ago. Like, they get to the point where they're going to lose that basic acceptance. And that's truly where this, I mean, making predictions lately, that's truly where this is headed or about to go. Because the people who are prime, like all them, like I already played one of the gay ass songs that Neo made. He was dog whistling, making music for the gay pride parade. You know, there's no other way around that. Even people like that are just basically saying, no, y'all are acting like some pieces of shit. It's no other way around it, but let's go.
Nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question and I answered the damn question. Okay. I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever. I ain't got no beef with y'all. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Do what you want to do with your kids. However, somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's going to tell me that's going to make me okay we're letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank, and that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neo no more, all right? And I got no problem with that. I'm a hustler, all right? I'll figure it out. I got kids to raise, and I'm going to do that regardless. So
now, that's deep when somebody is saying this, understanding that it could affect his money. Was saying, look, I'm going to figure out a way to make it, even if I can't make money the way I was making money. You know, I don't know if he's going to take his money and try to flip it into something else and do, you know, either way it go. That's taking a strong stance that must be respected by somebody who's wrote a lot of suspect music. He's taken a strong stance. Like you can't help but respect that stance because he knows the moment he turned the camera on to make this video that this could be it. This could be, you know, my album's not selling no more. You know, this could be me trying to book a concert and I can't, you know, I can't get the venues I used to could get. He knows that and understands that. But as a black man, you should, you know, as much as we like to complain about racism and oppression and being left out and being ostracized and being this and being that, is he, if he can't book the same venues that he used to get, if he's being denied access to certain venues, at some point do black people start looking at that sort of in the same vein as black people being denied stuff previously? I know that's, you know, you gotta follow me on that one, because what I'm really saying is the powers to be is the powers to be still use their levers to exclude certain people. And a time before, it was just about race. Now exclusion is happening based off ideology. So it's not even about the race that's in power. It's about what ideology is pushed by those in power. And it's the ideology, thoughts, views, and perspective of the LGBTQ community or agenda, to where that has become the no, you know, XYZ allowed. It ain't no colors allowed, but it's no people who think outside of this framework that we said is the framework in which we want people to think allowed. It's turned into that. And once it turns into that, then it's like you have to stop, pause, and understand that no, we like y'all have become y'all are becoming the, I hate to use the term, but in a poetic, metaphoric way, it's like they're becoming the oppressor, so to speak. Even though I don't think it's oppression if he's denied venues, but I'm saying the same type of thing is going on. There's parallels. I'll just say that it's parallels. I'm not reaching saying gay people are oppressing everybody. Like, no, they're not oppressing everybody. But there's parallels to what people do when they're in power. They fight for their seat at the table. They get at the table. Now I got my seat at the table. Now I'm flipping this goddamn table over, and you know, and I'm you know, asking other people to get up to leave. I was previously not allowed at this table. Now that I'm here, you got to go. It's like, that's what the fuck is going on.
So with that being said, y'all have a good day. I love everybody. Live how you want to live, love how you want to love, but your opinion is yours. Speak your opinion as much as you damn well feel like it, because as I said, they're not important, they're not special. Everybody got one, and you're entitled to it. I'm entitled to mine. All right, y'all feel how y'all want to feel. Have a great day.
All right. Yeah, he did want to say fuck yeah. he did legit want to say that. Now, let me pull up one more thing. Let me pull up one more thing. Give me a second on this one. I did not have this one ready to go. I did not.
Up.
Momentarily. It shall be up momentarily. That can't be downloaded. Okay, well, I won't download it then. All righty, here we go. Come on now. Shit. All right, yeah. Paymay says, "Damn, I used to think Neo was sus himself with all the lip gloss he used to wear." I pointed that out. I even played a hit. You know, he used to have very suspect sounding music and mannerisms and dance moves and the whole works. He's had songs that sound like they were big hits at the gay pride parade. So yes, everybody thought he was. I think that's why the gay people were mad. They think they lost one of their own. I think that's why gay people are mad about this. But now we're going to everybody's favorite scientist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I think made a grave error in his career by speaking on social issues. Even though there's an argument that could be made that scientists can speak on social issues, but with science as the backdrop and how they do it. But he's became an ideologue on some issues, and I think it has killed what was an amazing brand where he was cool, he was smart, he was witty, he would talk about science and the universe in a poetic way to where even the layperson could understand, and will reference some sci-fi movies that we all seen to make it make sense. And it was beautiful. It was poetic. It was poetry. He was a modern day Carl Sagan. He was all of that. He in many ways he's still all of that. But he went and left multiple times. He went left multiple times. You know, I don't understand the logic behind when we saw this when he was on I think Joe Rogan, and it was a couple places he was on. I forgot where. Y'all tell me in the chat room. It was a couple places where he was in a discussion. They talking about the vaccine, and they said to him very simple that, okay, there's a vaccine, and and he's like, yeah, it should be mandatory. They're asking him why. He did not have a good answer as to why this vaccine should be absolutely 100% mandatory across the board for everybody. It's like he tried to give a good answer, but it was a very unsatisfying answer, because no matter how you slice it, there's no justification of that. There's no justification for that. Little Big Nate says, but Bernard Riley, I thought Neil deGrasse Tyson. I thought Neil deGrasse Devil was cool. He isn't. He is a leftist piece of shit. I knew when I heard him, he was the devil leftist. When I call niggas leftist, I know what I'm saying. All right. All right, let's roll the tape.
Apparently, the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient, because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice. Either the one you're assigned, the one you choose to be, whatever it is. And so now so now just to tie a bow on this,
that's where it gets goofy to say the XXXY chromosome is insufficient at determining male or female. It's like how do you do that as a public scientist, a public intellectual? To do that is disingenuous. Like he could literally say that according to everything that we know and understand about science and everything that we understood in preschool, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, and that's what it is. However, human beings express themselves in a myriad of ways, and we should respect how people want to express themselves as long as they're not hurting anybody. You could be a scientist and you could make a statement that's respectful and sort of lightweight pandering to the left. Like you could do both of those things at the same time. Neo damn near did it perfectly. It's like, but to say that they're not sufficient at determining male and female, that's bullshit. You understand the difference between a physical, biological science and then psychological in the field of psychology. That's up here in the mind. That's psychology when we're talking about what somebody think they are or how they want to express themselves or what they feel that they are. That's something in the brain. We're talking about biological physiology, or I'm probably going to botch some words if I start trying to use too many more big words. We get it though. We get it. He knows that those are two different things. Like I'm very, very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Say to you, somewhere I read that the United States was a land where we have the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care?
Yeah.
What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
Here's why. Going back to the previous tape that I played, going right back to that. It's not a matter of individuals caring about what another individual does with their own life in their house, in the privacy of their home. The shit is at high level into the government with policy behind it that causes stupid shit to manifest in reality like this.
Have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
Should Mike Tyson, have you heard of him?
Yes, I have.
If he identifies as a female, should he be allowed to enter a boxing match with a biological female?
Well, the short answer is yes, somebody who is trans.
Okay. After 20 fights, I was undefeated. Only one fighter stood between me and the belt.
You got this chick, she's nothing.
Tiffany Stone!
No, that wasn't a scary movie. That was a comical depiction of the reality now. So it's not a matter of why do you care what somebody else is doing. If a law is on the books, allegedly, Nate, confirm for me if that law is actually on the books, the one in California that says a parent can have their kids taken away from them if they're not willing to affirm their gender identity. If something like that is even being considered, if something like that was, suggested to a congressman, and the congressman even wrote up a bill for it that everybody is going to vote down and never make it into a law. If that happened, that's enough for us to be concerned. And he obviously understands that. He obviously understands that. Like, this is somebody who I've seen wax poetic about, the movie Oppenheimer just came out. Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer. I watched it. I'm not sure if it's Oppen or Open. Still not sure. But about the scientists who, ultimately figured out how to make an atomic bomb, or who ultimately did it. It was some Einstein, some work from Einstein that had something to do with it as well. They lost serious sleep over that, over what people will do with their discoveries. Scientists lose sleep over that. But at the end of the day, they're not going to not put out the information that's true. E equals MC squared and all the math and everything behind that. All of that ultimately led to the math and the science that ultimately led to the atomic bomb. They knew that when they was figuring out all this complex math, they knew that some assholes was going to make a bomb. They knew it. It was going to happen. And it happened. And they had to deal with the consequences. And like those are deep things where you can ask, okay, why do you care? Why do you could ask deep questions, deep philosophical questions to somebody about, yes, that's true, but should it be done? Should it be put out there? Yes, it's possible to do this, but should you do this? He's using that same concept to try to turn around and say, yes, it is true that, he's not even acknowledging that the XX and XY is even a thing. He's not even properly acknowledging that. He's saying it's not sufficient. He's saying human beings express themselves on a spectrum where they may feel one way and then feel another way. And why do you care from a pure individual standpoint? Why do you care? And it's a disingenuous straw man from hell that scientists are some of the best at breaking down and picking apart other people's fallacies. So he has to know that he's operating in huge fallacy right now. He has to know and understand that. To pretend otherwise is just patently disingenuous. It's patently disingenuous. There's another video of him where I actually did content on this one a little while back. Not that far back. Give me a second. We had this discussion with Ben Shapiro. And his argument was, why do you care? It wasn't that you're wrong, Ben Shapiro. The argument was, why do you care? His whole thought process on it was, I understand that what you're saying is true. However, I'm concerned that what's going to happen when ideologues like yourself get their hands on this true information. Just like in the Oppenheimer reference, scientists were concerned, Einstein was concerned what's going to happen when political ideologues get their hands on the information about all the math and science that produces this bomb. He's scared. He's walking around in fear that people are going to create some nuclear bomb of the truth when it comes to this whole gender identity stuff. That's what he's concerned about. So that's why he's saying, what are you going to do with this information? If I agree with you and I confirm scientifically what's obviously male and what's obviously female, what are you going to do with this information?
It seems like the left is militating against the advent of science. One of those areas is the area of transgenderism. The argument that is typically made by gender theorists is that gender is entirely separate from sex. You've seen the argument made that it makes no difference on average if men are stronger than women are, and that if we were to allow transgender women to compete with non-transgender women, then this would somehow not disadvantage biological women. And this seems to me absolutely ascientific, that if we're actually going to have a discussion about gender and sex, that should be based in data, which suggests that mammals are in fact binary in terms of their sex, unless you have intersex birth defects typically, or genetic defects.
I'm happy to opine on this.
Now, keep in mind, Ben Shapiro is the ideologue. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the scientist.
This only matters because today we segregate nearly all sports by gender. Otherwise, why do you even give a shit?
What? What'd you say? Okay, all right. You said she's picking you up? All right, cool.
What someone identifies with. That we live in a free country, and with consenting adults and people free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what you teach your children.
I'm saying. And so there's the matrix of
wait, hold on.
There's who and what they are.
Man, on adult level,
identifies with. So we live in a free country, and with consenting adults and people free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on adult level, I agree with you. I think it does matter what you teach your children.
That's the key right there. Where Neil deGrasse Tyson, scientist, is trying to sidestep it, saying that we live in a free country. Ben Shapiro is rightfully saying, I agree with you. On the adult level, people are free. It matters what you teach to children. He's essentially saying something is either true or not true. Are we going to teach something false to children, or are we going to teach something true to children?
So there's the matrix of what you are biologically, how you express yourself, who you choose as a sexual partner. If we actually live in a free country, as we tell ourselves, people's freedom to behave in any of those ways should not concern you at all. Nor are they requiring that you behave that way. Okay, this is for their own freedoms, because we live in a free country. Now,
that's rolling the argument down a really narrow hallway. He's arguing it from the standpoint of where it was at, let's say in the year of 2000, when all they were fighting for was just acknowledgement and acceptance. Like, that was the argument in 2000. It's a completely different argument and completely different fight that's taking place right now. So again, it's something patently disingenuous about that.
What is unresolved here is, what do you do with sports? It's unresolved. And I've followed that closely, and I don't see any meaningful solutions to come down off of that. We know that hormones manifest differently in different people, and just the whole thing with steroids. Steroids are hormones, right? And we rallied against steroids.
Now, a good question is on the table. Why is a spaceman, an astrophysicist to be specific, even commenting on this? Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he comments on science that does not necessarily connect, may have some overlap with, but doesn't directly correlate with his particular field of study, what he has a degree in. He does that all the time. So it's kind of fair for him to do that as the public science educator, intellectual who speaks to, who communicates science in an understandable way to the masses. You're going to speak on all kind of topics no matter what. Now, what's different here is not different that he's speaking on stuff that don't got nothing to do with space. It's different because he's walking on eggshells around a political, social, culture war, so to speak. That's the only thing that's really different here. He's walking on eggshells around that. But as a public, as a public science educator, Nothing wrong with him speaking on that. Nothing wrong with him speaking on that. It's just a matter of what he's getting at and what he's saying.
Steroids are hormones, right? And differently in different people, and just the whole thing with steroids. Steroids are hormones, right? And we rallied against steroids in professional sports because it gives you an undue advantage. So I've tried to think of what the future of sports would be in the world of a gender spectrum. And it may be, you don't specify whether it's a male or female sport. You just take measurements of what your hormonal balances are. And so you compete based on your hormonal. I mean, this is thought I had. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to land.
The WNBA won't be in business for very long if that's the case.
It would just be you'd have to find some way to compete people against each other if you still care that sports is an interesting activity.
I guess the area where it does come up in a non-sports area.
Yeah, tell me, I don't know.
So it would be, you talk in your book about the education of children and teaching children about science. And right now, children are being taught about the quote unquote gender spectrum, which is not scientifically based. That is a theory-based idea.
No, wait, hold on. People express themselves on a spectrum. So you learn that.
That's a social point, not a scientific point.
It's
meaning we express ourselves
hold on.
Based in different languages. Is that something you teach in science class, or is that something that you teach when you're teaching language?
So whether the fact that people want to express themselves on a spectrum, on a gender spectrum, whether that fact is something you want to put in a sociology class or in a science class, maybe that remains to be determined. But it is a real fact about real society.
Well, of course, nobody's denying that people identify.
To say that remains to be determined, I mean, you're giving an opinion on this. It's like Ben Shapiro set him up to basically answer the question, well, where should it be? Should it be in social scientists that express himself on a spectrum? Or, he could have answered the question. I mean, he could have made it clear that, okay, that's social science. That's how human beings express themselves, or that's psychology. That's how humans, they believe in the mind that they're something that does not match their anatomy. Like, but it's not. It's not science in the strict sense, in the biological sense. Like, that can be acknowledged, and that's somebody putting it on the chat room. He's trying to word salad his way around that because he's being an ideologue. When I did content on this, it said when an ideologue talks to a scientist and sarcastically set it up, Neil deGrasse Tyson is an ideologue, and Ben Shapiro, who's actually the ideologue, is speaking more from a scientific perspective. But Game Changer, you requested the link. What's up? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about specialized fields. Absolutely. The person who brought up that he is an astrophysicist, he's not a biologist or even a sociologist. It's not even a science. Sociologist. Thank you. He's not even that. Is really telling, because what it means is that everything that he says on this particular matter is coming from the perspective of a lay person. It's not really coming from the perspective of a scientist. His credentials, in other words, don't mean anything here. However, he's using it to weigh in, and people who are on that side of, whatever you want to call it, the fence, the bench, the dildo, people who are on that side of things, is going to take it as, this is an official word from a scientist. It is sad that he's doing this.
Yeah, well, real quick before you go, I'll speak on that because, like, he speaks on a lot of different fields of science that's not astrophysics. And as somebody who's like I would say like the public informant when it comes to science, if something happens or some discovery in science, whether it's his field or not, Neil deGrasse Tyson is the public figurehead who comes to basically just explain what's going on in lay terms so the average person can understand without all the big scientific-y words. that's essentially what his job is, So he always is speaking on stuff that's not astrophysics. You do run into that problem of his credentials as an astrophysics or as a scientist. People try to expand or extrapolate that out to something that don't got shit to do with astrophysics. So that is a reoccurring problem. I mean, well, it's a reoccurring thing, but it's never been a problem until he sort of adopted social issues as, part of his thing now. So now he's fighting the culture war with the badge of scientist on his jacket. It's like that's where it turns into a problem. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, because he is arguably he has better people skills than most astrophysicists. They probably chose him to be the ambassador to the regular people, the people whose IQ is 160 and less. Like he's the spokesperson for that. Granted, however, he is speaking for someone else in these regards. He will say that I read something or I spoke to someone, and this is my interpretation of this particular person's science, who is a scientist in this particular field. Now, he's qualified to do that, as anybody is who, reads something and can regurgitate what they read. But the credit is due to the person who came up with that particular science. What he's doing now is he's given his own opinion on a social issue, and he's using, or at least society is interpreting his weight as a scientist in order to do that. And also, we can't help but to ignore that Neil deGrasse Tyson largely is full of shit. And but in a very benevolent way. I've always thought this, well, not always, but I thought this for quite some time, but I never really brought it to the public's attention because, quite frankly, I didn't have a dog in that fight. But he is, and it's for what many believe, including myself, at a time, was a greater good. And that is, I noticed that a lot of his science in astrophysics was sensationalized. And I think it was done in order to, for one, get people to invest in particular fields of science, because let's face it, people don't. Okay. Actually, I'm saying this.
Well, wait, explain what you mean by it was sensationalized.
Well, an example. He will discuss something. I've seen him do this on Bill Maher. He will discuss something about planets that are in the Goldilocks zone. And the Goldilocks zone is basically where they are roughly the same distance from the sun as Earth is.
Yeah.
And one can conclude, though one shouldn't, but he is implying that because it is equal distance from the sun that the Earth is, that it is habitable. It's not. That's crap. To imply that is very disingenuous, but it's to lead society into it's to tantalize the imagination and say, oh, maybe there's another planet out there with all sorts of stuff. Maybe there's aliens. Maybe there's a new place that we could go to after we fuck up this world. It kind of leads people to that thing. But the truth of the matter is, there are a number of things that make Earth, not just its distance from the sun. There are so many factors that make Earth habitable that just because you find one that's equal distance from the sun, whose gravity is different, who don't have a magnetic core, I mean, keep in mind, a billion years ago, Earth was just lava and volcanoes and shit. So, for him to imply in the slightest way that, this is habitable, or maybe we should start researching, maybe we should do stuff like this. We should put money into, space exploration, is disingenuous as hell, but I understand why he did it. He did it to raise money and to raise interest into a future generation of scientists. Yeah, exactly. No water or air. It took a long time for us to have this nitrogen oxygen mix atmosphere. I mean, for him to say and imply stuff like that is bullshit science. I mean,
all right. Now I listened to I've listened to a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson over the years, and I do think he does wax poetic about it. He does put it in an awe-inspiring way to inspire you to wonder. But I do know that I have seen them, pump the brakes and talk about out of the 5,000 or so exoplanets orbiting other stars that they found, the percentage of them that are in the Goldilocks zone. What they're saying is, if they are going to search for life elsewhere in the universe, those are the best places to look, just based off life as we know it. Yeah, so I don't think they're whole hog selling it like, oh, there's life up there. Like, they are. I think they tend to be pretty careful. Like,
No, he's not. He's not. I've listened to the same thing that you did. He's not. He is implying that there's a high probability. It fucking isn't. Okay. Not every sun is as hot as our sun. So the distance.
They can measure. I think they can measure how hot a star is.
Yeah, but he's talking about the Goldilocks zone. So if they are
that star's Goldilocks zone, though,
huh?
It's that particular every star has a different Goldilocks zone.
Bernard, no matter, okay, if you find a rock with the same temperature as Earth, that's not going to make it Earth. It's bullshit.
I get it. I get that part.
Okay, so any implication of that is bullshit, which makes Neil deGrasse Tyson, as a perpetuator of this, full of shit. Now, once again, I ignored it because it was a means to an end, and that is to raise interest in science and to encourage investment in science. So that's something. But what he's trying to do now is he's trying to make science cool, and he's trying to intersect science with what he believes to be mainstream thinking, which probably is mainstream thinking, and that's why he's taken the side of this ridiculousness.
Yeah, he will lose some audience that will ultimately help him do the other shit that he like to do if he just takes a hard stance as the public teacher of science. That he just take a hard stance, like, no, all the transgenderism shit is some bullshit. He's not taking that stance. That's what it is. That's the conclusion that I came to, right? So you're right in the sense that he cares about, what was I going to say? Well, like you said, putting the science into the mainstream, or mainstream thought into science, or putting science into mainstream thought. Like, I've watched a lot of his stuff. Like, I've read a book of his. Like, he's, that's what he cares passionately about. He even wrote a book about how to properly teach kids science, and how you educate kids, and what you teach kids, and how you teach them, and what you teach them, and how important that is when their mind is growing, and this or that. So he's definitely backpedaling on some shit,
Well,
I'm not going to fight you further on the exoplanets, but when they talk about how it could be life out there, they're talking about the fact that it's trillions of stars in the universe, which means it's probably zillions of planets. So from a probability standpoint, it's something out there. From a probability standpoint, it's probably something out there with life, but it's nothing that we can actually see, go touch, detect, or the chances of reaching it. Like, he draws a hard line. Like, when people talk about aliens and all that stuff, he's like, I believe there's life elsewhere in the universe, but there's no evidence that we've been visited by anything, and all of that stuff it's bogus. Like, he turns into a real hard, strict scientist on that shit. So,
but no, I understand that. I'm just saying that in his endeavor to raise interest, to the sciences, particularly physics, he exaggerates and he sensationalizes things, which, in my opinion, makes him largely full of shit. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. Now, as far as the book that he wrote, I actually, to teach kids science, I actually wrote a paper teaching kids science. And it's a very short paper. It's called Boys Have Penises and Girls Have Vaginas. So I got a feeling that my book is more accurate than whatever the fuck he wrote. And more factual than whatever the fuck he wrote.
No, he wrote that book before he was on this shit. Right now, I'm a little concerned if you write a book for kids.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah, nevertheless, he's in his attempt to, first of all, it shouldn't even be him. I think Bill Nye, the science guy, is better, but Neil deGrasse Tyson does have far better credentials. Nevertheless, in his attempt to reach the mainstream, he's fucking up.
Yeah, he's made the calculation that he wants to lose half, at least half of everybody. But Captain Cisco says, finally, let's talk about aliens. Send me the link that what you're talking about when you say play the tape of Neil talking about aliens on Joe Rogan and curse him out. He cursed out Joe Rogan. I wasn't exactly aware of that, but that's interesting. That's interesting. Go ahead.
No, my bad.
Now I was about to roll a little bit more of this. I was going to wrap this up soon. I wasn't planning on going too long after 3 today, but let's roll a little bit more of it.
Identify how they want to identify.
So be determined, but it is a real fact about real society.
Well, of course, nobody's denying that people identify how they want to identify.
So
the question is, what is the relationship of that to biology? Meaning that the argument is made that trans women are women, for example. And what that seems to mean is that trans women are identical to women. Now, if people want to say trans women are not biological women, obviously that is the case. But people don't seem to want to say that, although that is obviously scientifically true. Trans women are not biological women. Biological women are biological women.
But where are you going with this? What are you trying to accomplish by asking yourself, is it science or is it not science? It's how
what the hell
in society.
This is a perfect example.
Yeah.
That's full of shit. For a scientist to say, what are you trying to accomplish by determining if something is science or isn't? That is the sign of somebody who's full of shit.
Yeah.
That's like a chef saying, hey, what are you trying to accomplish if you trying to determine if something is food or isn't food? That's stupid. It's stupid talk. You see, in his attempt to reach the layperson, the 159 IQ and below people like myself, he has reached a level and depth of stupidity that people like him shouldn't dwell in. That's why they sent him to do that. You see, they know how stupidity corrupts people. They do, which is why a lot of scientists don't venture into our side. You don't catch them at the football game and shit like that. Why? Because they know that you can get wrapped, you can get so wrapped into stupidity that there is no turning back. And that's where Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
Yeah, the main problem with that, him asking, where are you going with this? Hold on, OG, you got you got to turn that down on that. That was like all hiss. That's all I heard. You got to turn down the I forgot what they call it, the gain or whatever's going on with that mic. But the main problem with him saying, where are you going with this? That's him essentially conceding the simple point that I'm not concerned about what's true and what's not true, accurate or inaccurate. It's somebody is trying to pin down what's the truth, and he wants to. I can't give you the truth because I don't know which. I'm fearful of what you're going to do with it. That's essentially his argument. Damn near skipping to the end.
It's just
people like you. It is the same old just shut up argument that we hear around here, because they don't want us making the arguments that we make because they're fearful of what's going to happen if black men start thinking more like the way we think. But it's so in addition to it being a just shut up argument, it's basically saying I know something is true. I can't say what is true because ideologues like yourself is going to use this truth to hurt people or take away their rights. That's what he ultimately says in the end. So he's willing to lie to try to protect what he believes is going to amount to rights being taken. Now, what I would argue that if a law in California, if it's even potentially that could be a law in California that parents could lose their children if they don't, or be viewed as some form of child abuse if a parent doesn't confirm or affirm a kid's gender identity. It's not about protecting somebody's rights at that point, because you're willing to take, if you're taking children, you're taking rights, if that's even tenable and on the table. So it's going that damn far. So it's not even a matter of like I said it's such thing as him arguing from the standpoint of the year of 2000 when, you know, the LGBTQ community was just asking for acceptance. No, they're getting damn near intrusive, not even damn near, they're getting intrusive policies being put forth. So it's beyond that acceptance war. And what are you going to say to hurt or harm people when the people that he's protecting, they're essentially they're in a place where they're doing the hurting and the harming now. That's what it's turned into. But all right, OG, go ahead.
That better? That's better.
It's still a little something, but it's cool. It's cool.
See, now y'all more coming on my side of the street. I try to tell y'all about this weird ass science that y'all like it when it goes your way, but then the science is weird. I try to tell y'all from the beginning that science is nothing but a theory. That's it. And when we get enough more information on certain things, we find out that science was never complete. That's why it's an evolution type thing. Now,
OG, you know you're speaking on a theory, right? You know you're talking using that theory. We're speaking to each other from miles away because of that theory.
Okay.
You're viewing Bernard from miles away because of that theory.
Again, nobody's denying that. But
you can't.
I'm telling you, nobody. Well, why are you saying what I'm saying then? I don't
know.
Need
What I'm saying is
backup singer. I don't need a backup singer.
I'm not renouncing science.
No, I'm just saying I don't need a backup singer. I can just sing this song. I'm leading on this song right now.
You got it.
Just don't have no backup group. Okay. Right. So again,
real quick, before you take the lead, Michael. Shout out to Salty Balls. Dropped a $50 Cash App on it. Do appreciate you dropping the $50 Cash App on it. Shout out to you and salute. Wait.
Ooh, suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
All right, OG. If I could say the biggest problem with what you're saying right now is you talk about this science thing. No, the problem is that we're seeing the scientists abandon the science. We're not seeing science being proven wrong. We're seeing somebody denying basic elementary school science.
But he's really not. That's the thing about it. All this taking all this taking a man and a woman and do what you doing to them. Number one, it is part of science and biology. It's Dr. Frankenstein. I mean, we were set up for this shit almost 50 years ago. That's what Dr. Frankenstein did. Took somebody who was empty in the head and took all kinds of parts from different people out the graveyard and made this human being that didn't look like any other human being. And so that's what they're doing. That's what I'm talking about, this weird ass science. So maybe you took it the wrong way,
that, OG, back me up on this. Is Newsom the worst governor since Schwarzenegger?
Probably 100 times more.
100 times worse?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Bernard, you don't live here, but right now we have a governor that's a for real true fuck up. And if there's a law like that out there, yes, I wouldn't doubt it, and I wouldn't doubt that it happened under his watch. He is a spectacular fuck
up. Frankenstein.
See, but now you forgot about Frankenstein. I mean, a lot of people who we are talking to right now have never even invented, because they stopped making the movies a long time ago. And I think they did because they didn't want to offend the LBGACTEEFG, some shit like that. They didn't want to offend them people when you start talking about transforming human beings. But this has already been set into play. Only thing what I was trying to tell you about a year ago, Bernard, it's never been about the bullshit really you hearing now. It's about really the children. It's always been about the main goal is to get our children, bro. And y'all thought I was stupid when I was saying this shit. And when it was in front of the Supreme Court about boy lovers and all that other bullshit, y'all thought, well, you just totally off the rail. Now you're starting to see this shit develop in the way that it was always going to develop, because any movement in anything in life, it always starts where you can get the youngest people to retain that and push it further in the future. And that's the best you can do when you can get the children who can push this bullshit. And that's why you have these goddamn Kareem tall 15-foot guys with lipstick on with a dress reading fucking child's books in front of our children, because if you get them, and this kind of practice they are using is being a theory of all movements. Even when people came to other civilizations, and what they would do is bring the children trinkets. And so they knew the children was going to grow up to be kings, princes, or whatever. And they know that was sticking to their mind. So I seen this shit come a long time ago. And y'all think I'm the dumbest person on this fucking earth. But if I see,
what was you saying? You were saying something that implied that we was disagreeing. Somebody was disagreeing with you when you was pointing it out. I don't recall that. I don't even recall when you pointed it out a year ago, and anybody not around here fighting with you on it. I don't recall.
No, I think it was too early in the conversation, and y'all thought I would be going off the rail of some of y'all conversation when y'all was dealing with the adults. And I would always, y'all say, well, y'all would look at me like I'm always moving the goalposts. But sometimes I'm in the football field and y'all even came in the arena. I ain't moving the goalposts. Y'all just seen the shit when y'all came in, and it was different what y'all thought it was gonna be when you got there.
All right, go ahead, GC. I think go ahead.
Yeah, OG, man, I can't believe that you're saying this. I mean, you a boomer, but it bothers me that you say stuff like that, because I agree with you 100%. And I don't like that I agree with you 100%, OG, but I do. I agree with this probably is a first. This is a first where I agree with OG J Speed 100% in everything you said about the children. And, the way to brainwash and manipulate a society is to first start with the children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is, and the historical reference was spot on. Hey, hats off to you. I'm not talking about like the Montgomery, Alabama hats off. I mean, like actual hats off to you. That's some real spit.
Yeah, because I've been talking about this shit ever since 2017, when nobody really wanted to talk about it, because I knew what the end goal was. I just knew it, So anyway, thank you, and I hope you're agreeing with me, not because your medication is not working. I hope you just legitimate agreeing along with me. You were the real game changer this morning. You just agreeing with me on game changer mind, not because the medication hadn't kicked in.
No, 100%. Romans took neighboring tribes' kids and educated them, which is where we got terms like romantic or romanticized the kids. And then they grew up in Roman traditions, and these kids became the leaders of neighboring kingdoms or what have you. And that's how they spread Roman influence throughout the world. So no, it's 100% OG. Like no cap, no troll.
Okay, well, Bernard should know that the empire, a lot of this stuff came straight from the Pope himself. Why you think that place is a sovereign place, that it took years to even get priests, some priests, not all, some priests even prosecuted, because the individual was considered as a sovereign state, let's say a sovereign country. And so that's why it was so hard to prosecute these priests. Even the priest that was in the United States was still considered a sovereign country. And a lot of this stuff started right there.
You talking about the gay shit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
let me get to the super chat. He says, OG ain't tripping. No, OG ain't tripping today. He says, science might as well be a living organism that constantly changes based on what humanity says it is. Now, I disagree with that. I disagree with that when people wholesale shit on science like that, because the fact of the matter is, like Game Changer just pointed out, science is what created the device that you're using to be on another part of the country, if not the world, watching me talk to you, and we're having a conversation like we're in the same room. Like, so let's not shit on science. There are some people that have had the label of scientists who have tried to pull some bullshit, but we find out that their bullshit is bullshit from what? Science. Whenever somebody does some pseudoscience, it's actual scientists that come and correct their bullshit. When someone did some science and, well, some so-called science and came up with an Earth-centered universe, somebody did actual science and debunked it. Contrary to what popular belief was going on with a lot of people, when people thought the Earth was flat, it was actual science that proved that it was a sphere. Science always comes through and wins in the end. It has error-correcting mechanisms within it. It's really the only true thing we can stand on that's going to get us the closest view of the truth as possible. Is it perfect? No. But do it at least have self-correcting mechanisms within it? Yes. You know, so I will never just outright shit on science in that regard. Like, no, science is the shit. But we gotta acknowledge the toxic king in the building. Says, peace, Bernard. Not sure if you religious, but you doing God's work, brother. And thank you very
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140.
That's $100.
Shout out to the hold on real quick. Shout out to the Toxic King. I definitely trying to locate link to said brother's channel. Find that link, drop it in the chat room. Y'all go subscribe to that. Go subscribe to that brother. He does excellent content over there. So shout out and salute. Shout out and salute. Appreciate you. All
it's
right.
good to see $100 and not somebody kicking me in the ass.
But yeah. You only I normally only get a $100 or $100 super chat when somebody got to get you off the panel. That's about the only time.
But you're speaking truth today.
Well,
you speaking so much truth. You costing Bernard $100.
No, he made $100 with me speaking the truth.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you can get it on both sides. But Bernard, you know,
what y'all think about what I said about how science is the best way to know and understand the truth? It got self-correcting mechanisms within the framework of it. So like the previous super chat said, it should be just dismissed and just kicked off, just dismissed out of hand. It shouldn't. So what's y'all think about that statement? I find it pretty dismissive to say it's changes based on what humans say it is.
Okay, so there's semantics in science, because a person could say, well, what's the scientific definition of woman? So or what's the scientific definition of man? And then they stated the XY chromosome, and then you have people like Neil deGrasse that have challenged that. So it gets kind of weird. I will say that in an attempt for it's so many people, and there is a who gonna check me boo when only scientists can check you. And I do think that is something that unfortunately is becoming more and more prevalent as society is getting more complex. For example, you mentioned the Earth being flat and versus round or spherical. It wasn't really scientists that disproved that, nor was it scientists that that called it flat to begin with. It was pioneers that disproved it, and it was
I knew that right when I said it. Like bad. As soon as I said it, I was like example, because it wasn't science that proved that it was flat.
But I'm just saying that to say that, and this isn't me playing gotcha or anything, but I'm saying that more. Yeah, I'm saying that more to say that it's easier. It was easier back then. It was easier back then to, first of all, make a theory, create a theory, and disprove that theory. It was a lot easier to do. Now it's very difficult. Me as a lay person, as a semi-lay person, I think a lot of what these guys say is complete and total bullshit. But I do not have the brain juice, or I don't have enough wrinkles on my brain to disprove them. But I fucking know that Pluto is a planet, and they're all full of shit. I know it's a full planet. There's no such thing as a celestial dwarf.
It's in the Kuiper belt. It's in the Kuiper belt.
They're full of shit, Bernard. It's a planet. They're full of shit. But it's
a really big asteroid. I'm sorry.
They're full of shit. They're full of shit. It's been a planet that's got 9 planets. They're full of shit. My very eager mother just served us 9 pickles, and pickles is Pluto. That is how that works. They're full of shit. Okay. And I can't disprove them because not enough wrinkle. They never been to Pluto either, Omega Gaming. They're full of shit. Some jackass said the world is so the universe is so expanded that if you really just made it really, really dense, it'll be the size of a marble. You're full of shit. A lot of these motherfuckers, Bernard, are full of shit. And they know that I don't have the wrinkles, and none of our wrinkles combined can disprove them. So they could just make up anything. They're like a fucking mechanic. They're like a mechanic that gets under your hood and just say shit.
The only pushback I got for that is that I've seen scientists. This goes back to 2006. This is when I first really started liking Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he gave an amazing speech at something called the Beyond Belief conference. Scientists was basically presenting their ideas, damn near like a thesis. And when somebody would present something, they would have a really good idea. When I tell you those scientists, and you know this because you said nerds are rude as fuck, those scientists, they tore people to shreds after they speak during the Q&A. Tore them to shreds. It was like a week-long conference they had. It was like Comic-Con, but for actual science. And whenever somebody presented they shit, and when I tell you that the level of scrutiny and question and fine-tooth comb that scientists run through other people's work to make sure that they're getting it right, they actually on the job. When somebody proves something, a team of scientists get together. We have to try to debunk this nigga. And if we can't debunk him and all his shit check out, he win the Nobel Prize. And nobody wins another Nobel Prize in that field to somebody come to either finally debunk him 50 years later when we create better instruments to measure whatever the fuck he came up with, or if we just create better instruments that adds to what this person came up with. So it's not, when I say came up with, I shouldn't even use that term, because people are like, oh, they just coming up with shit. It's but no, it's yes, it's true. We don't got enough, as you say, wrinkles in our brain to truly know if they telling us the truth. They could be all just fucking lying to us. That part is true. But what I do know, the whole peer review process and the process in which they scrutinize and pick each other apart and make sure that somebody math checks out, and they do the work to try to get as accurate as possible, to the point to where I don't even want to get into a religious versus science debate, but religion can't predict when the next comet is going to come by. They can only tell us that a comet came by, and guess what? That's a sign of, after the fact, they could tell us it's a fulfillment of some prophecy or what is a sign of. But when it comes to science, they can actually, to mathematical precision, tell us exactly 77 years, 5 hours, and 15 minutes into the future when we're going to see that comet come back around. It's science. Science works.
I get it. Yeah. I get it, Bernard. No, I'm not saying that all of them are full of shit. What I'm saying is that Americans really don't have much interest in science, and that's because we never really did. We just use it on an as needed basis.
Mm-hmm.
And by as needed basis, You know, you notice how things kind of remain the same until a war happens. You know, like you know, horse and buggy, World War One. Okay, now we got the car, now we got the Jeep. You know, and then you know it's like, okay, you have these black basic cars, and then you know World War Two, and then you know you get walkie talkies, and years later you get cell phones and TVs and shit. Like we use science on an as needed basis because we invest in it as we need it for military purposes. Now we haven't really had a major need for it for almost a century now, for Americans to really just reinvest into it, because you're spending billions of dollars on a maybe at some point. You know, like, okay, I'm going to spend these billions of dollars and maybe they'll come up with a warp drive or some crap like that, maybe. So people don't like to invest in that unless they're defending their nation. The reason why I'm saying this is because there is a lot of fluff. There's a lot of people who just want to say something sensational, like Pluto isn't a planet, just to remind people, you know, that we need science and science is good. We need science, and not just, you know, refining, you know, technology that was, you know, invented in the 1940s, which is essentially what we're using now: the computer, the monitor, the microphone, all of this was just refined technology from the 1940s. Refined World War II walkie-talkies is what an iPhone is. So, you know, like, but there isn't much of a push. So you have these scientists who are really trying to get people interested and motivated to do so. You know, I mean, because think about it. What if people just started saying, hey, what the fuck are they still sending rockets up there for? What are they doing up there? What are they doing up there? You know, I mean, what if people like we already know that there ain't shit. We already know that there's nothing on the moon and there's nothing on Mars. There's nothing that's going to give me shit. So, you know, there's nothing there that's going to lower my gas prices. So so they have to justify it, and in their attempts to justify it, every now and again they throw out some bullshit. That's all I'm saying.
But
you know, and because they have superior wrinkles, you know, yes, if I was to just stand up and call their bullshit, they'll just out wrinkle the fuck out of me. You know, however, I know it's bullshit.
But when you say game changer, that science just make it easy to understand things that we can see in plain view and things we cannot, because when you really think about it, all science is based on, by the time they you know, tear it apart and put it back together for people to understand, it starts off with understanding a mathematical formula where they can duplicate it. And so I wouldn't say, I would like to ask you and Bernard, okay, let's just take the Dogon tribe in Africa, who had mapped out the solar system way before the argument you are making now, Pluto, who had mapped out the solar system way before there was the first microscope, a telescope, or anything else. And it was true to understand the solar system with just the naked eye. So would you call them scientists?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know anything about the Dogon tribe, Bernard?
I'm sorry. I was trying to find a Neil deGrasse Tyson video of him trying to saying some sensational stuff to basically justify money spent by the government for science, for, you know, stuff that we already, like, we know, like like Game Changer said, ain't nothing on the moon. It's some evidence that it probably was water on Mars many moons ago. but you know, so what's the justification of being up there? I was about to play a video of him trying to make the justification for money being spent on it.
Well, I mean, in astrophysics, it's worse. Like, it's really the most useless. I mean, if you're going to invest, there is, like, you know, cancer research, like, or hell, if you have
he was on Bill Maher, and Bill Maher basically said the same thing. We got enough problems on here. We don't need to figure all these problems out down here before we spend more money out into space. And Neil deGrasse Tyson went into his Neil deGrasse Tyson. He went into his spiel, and he gave a riveting speech that got an applause afterwards. And I'm trying to find it, but I think that speech is going to really exemplify exactly what you're getting at on how he does he takes science and some things that maybe that are true in science, but he romanticizes about it real poetically to where it will, inspire people ultimately to not say, okay, how much money we spending for y'all to play around out in space and orbit and do this and do that, and it's like
I got to give you a little pushback on that, bro. Not him per se, but think about this. You, I, or Game Changer can't see frequency with the naked eye. Mm-hmm. And what we might be seeing on Mars or the moon might be another door that's been opened on a different level of intelligence that we can't even explain, that we see nothing but just naked air, naked rock. But that might be the door that Game Changing is talking about earlier. There's nothing to push us to another level where we open up Pandora's box and it's like under a microscope. When you put things under a microscope, what usually happens? More strength you get in that microscope, more things you see. What you think was just a dot becomes a whole big space that you can investigate. And when you get more strength in that microscope, you see more and more things inside the dot, inside the dot, inside the dot. And so this is an evolution thing. And things we talk about now might be seen to be crazy. But as we get technology and as we get more intelligent towards what is and what not, then, I think it's always going to be an evolution of things that what people go disagree about what is and what not.
Well, where I'm at with that, one, I don't think we're going to discover some new portal that go to another dimension up there. However, my scientific or intellectual curiosity says, yeah, I do want us looking around up there. I do. So there's that. I don't, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he broke down in that video how small of a sliver of the budget is spent on space. It's like a sliver of a penny or whatever, or something he said like that might be true. I don't know, but so either way, my curiosity in wanting to know what's going on out there with all that stuff with the James Webb Telescope and everything, I want them looking out there finding whatever they can find. That's just my personal selfish curiosity. But that's where I'm at on that. But we passed the 2-hour mark. We done veered way off. Wait, hold on. He says I have $50 in the clip. Oh no. See, okay, if he says something crazy, I wouldn't even listen if he says something crazy. But
I didn't say anything crazy today.
I didn't. Okay, cool. Because like it was a moment where I wouldn't listen. I was trying to find a video that I couldn't find. But all right.
Somebody want to shoot me in the big toe, I don't mind. But I didn't say anything crazy today. We not. Show me how crazy that person is. But what I'm saying,
I want to see Bill Maher. What he said to Bill Maher.
I don't really got it. I found something that ain't really it. Well, okay, we'll give it a gander. This ain't exactly the money shot that I was looking for when Bill Maher laid it out firmly that this ain't it ain't worth it to spend that money spend money out of space when we got problems on the ground. But let's see if this might be the clip. We'll see. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's not the money shot I'm looking for, but it's close. They were talking on the same topic.
Congress is considering pulling the plug on the James Webb Space Telescope.
Get me started.
Now, I want to get you started. This is the success of the Hubble, and they say here in the universe, maybe the moment when the universe was born. I don't even know how that happened. But it cost $6.8 billion.
Well, first of all, let's clarify what the NASA budget is. Bank bailout. That sum of money
could reach Venus.
Just they did an edit, and I think in that edit Bill Maher probably did get kind of, blunt and say, we got problems here. So while we fucking around wasting money up there, we need to fix our shit down here and then play around up there just for fun. I think they edited that part out. So this might be the clip. So let's go.
Bank bailout. That sum of money could reach Venus. That sum of money is greater than the entire 50-year running budget of NASA. And so when someone says we don't have enough money for this space probe, I'm asking, no, it's not that you don't have enough money. It's that the distribution of money that you're spending is warped in some way, that you are removing the only thing that gives people something to dream about tomorrow. Do you remember the 60s?
All right.
You remember the 60s and 70s?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to him. He's very charismatic. Far more so than most physicists I know of. By leaps and bounds, by light years.
But you don't think he's spot on what he just said?
Well, I think that the budget thing, he's definitely spot on. He's not really talking science now, but I mean, I think that the budget thing, yes, absolutely. Scientists can do a lot with a little, more so than capitalists. So yeah, he is spot on with that. But the truth of the matter is, it ain't shit out there that we care about. I mean, and that's it, and it sucks, which is why I didn't really speak against him until he started talking crazy today. Which is why, because I actually respect what he's doing. Because I'm gonna say it out there, and I'm saying this as a STEM guy myself. Physics is the godfather of science. It is, it's the most respected of all the sciences. And engineering and mathematics. It is the top. It is the pinnacle. But it doesn't translate to dollars the way that it should, and that's because it don't really translate, especially astrophysics. It don't really translate into human use the way we need it to. Like it doesn't. Like if there's a biological scientist out there right now researching like super Viagra, and people will spend more money on that than they will to get him to Venus. People will spend more money on erecting their penis than getting him to Venus. Like that is just the way society. That's I mean, like if they're coming up with a cure for baldness, I mean, they'll spend more money on that. There isn't much practical use for it. I'm sorry, and I know that it's his job to try to drum up, like, hey, you should spend money in physicists. Trust me, I get it, and I'm 100% behind this dude on that. I see. Here's the thing: when I see something that could harm somebody's agenda, I just shut up about it. Generally speaking, I don't walk into a news station and say, what the fuck do you need a weatherman for nowadays? I don't say that because it's a man with a job and he's doing it, or it's a man or a woman with a job and he's doing, he's doing his job. He's feeding his kids, even though people just, Google what today's weather is. But, so I get it. And I'm not trying to shit on his parade, but he was talking out the side of his neck today. So now I'm just calling him on his bullshit. Yes, it takes a very intelligent people, extremely, I mean, my brain is smooth compared to these astrophysicists. It takes extremely wrinkled brain people to do it. I get it, but the truth of the matter is, it's not practical, and he's trying to drum up funds for society. Look, I mean, he's an extraordinarily charismatic scientist. He is. So I get why he's doing it, what he's doing, but in doing so, he has to throw out bullshit, and he has to say some crap like he did today.
Yeah. But I want to leave y'all with something because I know Bernard wants to go because he look a little sleepy. But no, I want to leave y'all with something. Your whole last 20 minutes been on the premise that that we're not there. See, I look at the things that people want to be solved on this earth, like the VCR when it was first made. They had the technology to get you fast forward, slow motion, all the features was already invented for that VCR, but they couldn't sell it to you for years if they gave you all them features at the same time. And that's how medicine works in this on this planet. There's no money in cure. There is money in treatment. And that's what y'all can have a false sense of when you start to have these discussions about what should be done and what shouldn't be done with money, especially when it comes to solving problems in medical. Y'all don't understand. They already have these cures, and I know it might seem like I might be talking some shit that it's not real, but they have the cures, but they want to treat you for a lifetime. So you can't base your conversation on that premise.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, that's one thing. What I'm saying is the money aspect of it. Yeah, so they'll spend money on treatment research, of a great many things. Let's start there. They'll spend a lot of money on treatment for a great many diseases because they find it urgent. Like they just pulled money out their ass, when that 2020 flu came out. So yes, when it's something that people are fearful of, they'll spend money on it, like war and things like that. I mean, that really gets the population, motivated to spend money. And when it's something that people feel that they can use, people will invest in that. But unfortunately, no one is investing since the 50s, since we had something to prove to Russia in the Cold War. People just really aren't into astrophysics like that. I mean, once we've realized how far the nearest solar system is, that get to, it's like, okay, so really we can only explore these fucking 8 planets, you assholes. Like we all the best we can do is to get out to Neptune. That's the best we can do, is in a lifetime. So people weren't really interested like that. I mean, hey, shout out to Elon Musk for actually trying something new, but that's his own dime. He's on his own dime with that.
But no, they got their science got a cream for that itch you got this morning.
Itch? Where? On my head?
You've been scratching all over, man, for the last 5 minutes. So
I have. I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah, you probably need to visit a drugstore.
I think I've probably been a little uncomfortable, but I don't know if I've been scratching. But maybe I don't know.
Man. Scratching.
Sometimes you have. Now that you said that, now I'm itching all over. Now that you said the shit.
But now, here's the rub, because I feel I did a disservice by shitting on Neil and science as much as I did, or astrophysics as much as I did. Here's the thing: we need people like him regardless. We do, and we need young people to strive for the best at in physics regardless of its practical use to society, and we should invest just for that purpose alone, like just for somebody to reach their pinnacle of excellence, which that is, in my opinion. We should invest in that. Regardless of its practical use to society. We really should. Okay, think of it like this: like the old Republic invested in Jedi when there were no Sith around. They just like, okay, yeah, why do we need these weirdos and these weirdo virgins that with lightsabers? Why do we really need that? We have a police force, why do we really need these guys? But they did, just because you're supposed to have people like that. You're supposed to encourage people like that. You really are, or unless you're just gonna like find yourself in complete and total ignorance. So I completely respect what he's doing in that regard, but he took it too fucking far. He took it too fucking far when he started speaking on stuff that didn't drum up money for astrophysicists.
All right. All right.
Do either one? Wait a minute, Bernard. One more thing. Do you either one of y'all? I'm gonna ask y'all straight up right now. Do you believe that we're the only life form in this universe?
No.
No, I don't either.
How about,
I think, yeah. But there's a huge but there. There is to this date no evidence, no hard evidence that there's something else out there. There's definitely zero evidence that anything has visited us. I stand on that.
Have you looked at the last week of this channel called Redacted?
I will check it out today.
Yeah, look at it. They have a being that is alive, supposed to be. I know this channel Redacted don't deal with BS, but
you got to take that to Tuesday, Mr. Fantastic.
Okay. All right, I got to get out of here. I did want to play the rest of this. I might play. Well, no. Yeah, just hell. You know what? I'm dropping the link in the chat if y'all do want to hear the rest of that conversation. I'll drop the link in the chat for it. How about that? Damn it, I can't. Shit. Okay, here we go. There it is in the chat room. Y'all want to hear the rest of that conversation. But ladies and gentlemen, we got to get up out of here before we go.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.
Peace.